All right, so we just learned 2 algorithms for addition. Now we're going to learn 3 for subtraction. So we first have our standard algorithm. This is how I learned to subtract. It's likely how you have also learned to subtract. So here I'm going to subtract 315 minus 96. I'm going to start here in the ones column, and I have 5 minus 6. So I cannot subtract 6 ones from 5 ones, so I need to regroup. Notice that I didn't say that other word. I'm not even going to say it, all right? So I'm going to regroup here. I'm going to regroup 1, 10 for 10 ones. And I'm going to show my notation just like that. Some people may actually cross out the 5 and write the 15 above there. I would just always follow the notation that students see regularly in their textbooks in schools. And so now I have 15 minus 6. 15 minus 6 is 9. Now I move to the tens column. I cannot subtract 9 tens from 0 tens, so I have to regroup. I'm going to regroup 100, and now I have 10 tens minus 9 tens, that's 1. And then I move here to the hundreds columns. 2 hundreds minus nothing is 2. So when I have 315 and I subtract 96, my answer is 219. Now that's our traditional algorithm. That's how most students learn to subtract. But as you can see, I mean, this is just one example problem. There's a lot going on here, especially with the notation and with the regrouping. And if students are having a really difficult time with that, you might consider trying this algorithm right here. So this algorithm is related to the partial sums algorithm that we saw for addition. This one is called partial differences. Now, partial differences works by crossing 0. So it uses a combination of positive and negative integers. That's what's difficult about partial differences. So if your students aren't ready for that, then just kind of follow along and learn this algorithm, but you may not end up using it with your students. But for teachers who are working with students in the middle school grades or even high school grades, this might be a strategy that you might actually employ. So we are going to do 315 minus 96. Here, just like with partial sums, we're going to work left to right. So first I'm going to subtract 300 minus no hundreds. So 300 minus no hundreds is 300. I'm going to write it right there and line up my 300 there. Now I'm going to move to the tens. 110 minus 9 tens is negative 8 tens, or negative 80. And then 5 ones minus 6 ones is negative 1. So these are all my partial differences. The difference in the hundreds column is here, the difference in the tens column is here, and the difference in the ones column is here. So now I'm going to do 300 minus 80, that's 220, minus 1 is 219. Now, there's a lot going on in that algorithm. You are crossing 0 using a combination of positive and negative integers, but it might help some students who have a lot of difficulty with this problem. Notice the difference in how this problem is notated with the standard algorithm versus the partial difference algorithm. Now, there's one other one that we might try if students are having difficulty with multi-digit subtraction and this standard algorithm hasn't clicked and partial differences hasn't clicked, then we might want to use this add up strategy. Now, remember when we were talking about the concept of subtraction? We can explain subtraction as taking away. That's kind of what we've been doing here. But we can also think about subtraction as the difference between two amounts and comparing the difference. And if I'm thinking about the difference between two amounts, let's say I'm thinking about the problem 5 minus 3, I can think about that difference from starting at 5 and moving back to 3, or starting at 3 and moving up to 5. And so what we're going to do with this strategy, the adding up strategy, is we're going to think about the difference between two numbers, but instead of subtracting, we're going to add. So in this example, I'm going to start with 96 and add up to 315. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to start with 96. And now I'm going to use friendly numbers for me. So I'm trying to get to 315, but let me first get to 100. So I know 96 plus 4 is 100. All right, so I'm going to notate my 4 over here because that's going to help me out. This is what I'm adding up to get from 96 to 315. Now I'm trying to get to 300. So I know 100 plus 200 is 300. And I'm still trying to get up to this target number 315. So 300 plus 15 is 315. So look, I've moved from 96 all the way to 315. So now I'm going to move over here to figure out what jumps did I make on my number line in order to figure out the difference. So I am going to add 200 plus 4, that's 204, plus 15 would be 219. And looky there, these have the same answer with the add up strategy as the partial differences strategy as the traditional algorithm. So there's 3 different ways that students can think about subtraction.